This podcast is proudly sponsored by JurASSic Protein, a Rhode Island plant-based protein supplement company designed for athletes and adventurers. They deliver 25 grams of protein, 5 grams of BCAAs, and 18 essential vitamins and minerals. It's non-GMO, it's gluten-free, it's allergen-free, no artificial flavors, no added sugar or stevia, and it has no additional gums, thickeners, or fillers. Right now, you can get 30% off on this podcast with the code JurASSic 2022, and you can find them at JurASSiCprotein.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Phase CBD. That's P-H-A-Z-E. They are a local Rhode Island company who makes and manufactures a wide-ranging variety of CBD products that are formulated specifically for athletes. It doesn't matter if you're a CrossFitter, a strongman, bodybuilder, or powerlifter. These products are for you. These products range from tinctures to seltzers to even roll-on applicants. By supporting this business, you're supporting a local Rhode Island business and you're supporting this podcast directly. Please check them out at phasesports.com.
Let's get into it.
All right. What's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Roadie Strength Podcast. Another special guest on today, Dylon Grzenda.
Yeah.
I feel like I was pretty close.
Yeah, it is close. It's the GRZ in a row that kind of throws everyone off.
I feel like people... How many times do people get that right first try?
Rare? I think it's pretty rare.
Pretty rare.
I think an extra E gets thrown in there, and I think that as you pronounce it, it's pretty much what I get most of the time. So it's like half you let them fly and half of them correct. But
I don't feel as bad then.
No, not at all.
So just a quick overview, and then we're going to get into your rapid fire questions here. So I met you over at F45
Correct.
in Cranston. So
Yep.
you're coaching over there. You also do some personal training. You're also crushing Squatober and Deadcember
Yep.
the past couple of years, and have some really cool programs that I definitely want to really dive into and talk about, because just from briefly looking over them, they're really cool. A lot of different aspects of them that you have versus other programs have too, which is good. And played some baseball.
Yeah,
at New Haven.
Washed up baseball player.
Hey, I like it. That's good. So just to start it off, I'll let you do rapid fire questions. So these are mostly for my benefit because I get the most entertainment out of them,
Yeah,
I guess
of
you could
course.
say. But it's good. It gets the conversation going. So starting off, you gave me a little insight into this question already. But so we got favorite coffee shop is the first one.
Yeah, so I'm not really a coffee drinker. However, at the F45 studio we have in Cranston, there's Brewed Awakening, which I found myself, I feel like most mornings after working, kind of going in there and doing some schoolwork.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
so,
a good sit-down environment there.
Yeah, I mean, their smoothies are good. I can't
They
tell you much
do
about
have-
their coffee,
Yeah.
but
No, that's great. And we were just saying off air, like, once you start, it's like just game over.
Yeah.
So if you can
Sip it
hold
away.
off and as long as possible, do you do like pre-workout or anything, or?
I did for a little bit, but really just sticking with I'm a big Monster drinker. I know it's not much better, but
So okay, so you're getting the caffeine fix.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, not a lot of pre-workout. I feel like most high energy individual. I think for a lot of people who know me, very high
Yeah.
energy to begin with, so it doesn't really take much to get me going.
Sure. Are you kind of like drink it throughout the day type person, or do you
Usually
try to
when I wake
stop?
up, I think
Yeah.
being an early morning person, just right out when I get out of bed.
Yeah.
Days like today where I get to sleep in, I'll kind of keep it to early afternoon, but usually
Yeah.
it's just morning.
And I'm setting a bad example. I'm still drinking my coffee. I poured it at noon, so I'm drinking it slow.
Yeah.
But it's 5 o'clock. I'm still sipping it a little bit, but
It's doing its job.
yeah, it's doing its job. We got the cold brew at from Custom House Coffee, which is over in Middletown.
Okay, yeah.
So we got like a little I don't know, kegerator, you
Sure.
maybe call it, like
As a
self-storage thing here.
non-coffee drinker, that sounds right.
Sure. So we got next question: favorite go-to breakfast. Now this could be something you make at home. Like what do you like to make, or maybe a breakfast spot that you go to, like a restaurant.
I'm a big omelet guy,
Oh, omelets
just
are
load up
good.
an omelet, breakfast, broccoli, bacon, cheese. I would say anything with eggs, egg sandwich.
Nice.
Usually I'll meal prep a couple egg sandwiches at the beginning of the week and kind of eat those throughout the week.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you keep the bread separate?
No, so just if you make them at the beginning of the week and you just freeze them and then defrost the night before. So the night before, just take them out, put them in the fridge. Yeah, not too bad.
What do you use for bread? I'm
just
fascinated by this.
Yeah, English muffins. It's just
Nice. Okay.
yeah.
And do you pop them like in the toaster oven or microwave, or?
Just microwave. We
No
have
way.
it looks like a panini press, but like an egg sandwich maker. We just can make
No
it. You
way.
can just bust out a bunch of egg sandwiches
Let's
in a row.
go.
Yeah, what a time to live in, right?
I've never heard anyone prepping that, and it makes sense. Like you can buy like the what is it, Jimmy Dean, like pre-made ones.
Yeah,
So
those were good. I did that for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
During COVID, I think those were my big like breakfast sandwich.
Nice. Solid. And then omelets is the number one. Do you make them yourself?
Yeah, I make a good omelet.
Let's go.
Like, I'm not a good cook, but I make a good omelet.
What about what do you use for a pan?
What do you mean? Just like the normal
style.
Yeah, just a normal. I don't know. What's
Regular
the-
nonstick?
Yeah, sure.
Do you ever go with a cast iron?
No, for omelets.
Yeah.
Is that like the move? Am I missing out on here?
I've been a cast iron guy for a while, and I've gotten the skill down with the omelets, but I've had people tell me I'm crazy for it. So just want to get your opinion.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna have to check it out. Look into it. You know.
It's a whole separate I guess rabbit hole of its own as a cast iron.
Great. So coffee and then the cast iron omelet.
So next question, getting probably a little bit more into health and fitness, but who knows? Who knows where it goes? Favorite Instagram accounts, and this could be something that's entertaining, like something you just like to see across the feed. Maybe you hate Instagram, you don't, and we can skip the question, or something that you find inspiring or like educational even.
Yeah, I think I'm not a big Instagram guy. I know everyone right now that's listening to the podcast is screaming through the screen that I'm a big TikTok guy, which I am. Big TikTok, yeah, huge TikTok guy. I don't know. Last month, I deleted Instagram entirely for the whole month, which was great.
Nice.
But I think there are a couple fitness accounts on Instagram that I do like and follow and try to learn from. But TikTok, I mean, comedy, dark humor, like fitness, everything on TikTok. I mean, it's just too good.
You got a good algorithm.
Yeah, though its algorithm's a little weird, but yeah, it feeds me what I need to, you know?
Everyone's got some weird stuff on the algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, it's fitness to like kids getting hurt to being in grad school for athletic training. I have a bunch of athletic training accounts too, so.
Nice, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Where are you going to grad school?
So I go to Merrimack College up in North Andover. Yeah.
Awesome, okay, cool. Any specific accounts you want to shout out, or just kind of whatever comes across the feed?
I'll shout out a couple of Instagram accounts. I think kind of what's important to me, or what's crazy to me, is these Instagram accounts. Most of them don't have more than 5,000 followers.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
So some fitness accounts that I would follow is Tim Kelly. He's a great one. He used to be.
What's he out of?
He used to be out of Virginia. It used to be Virginia Performance and Strength, I think was their main account as a group, but he has his own one. Posts a lot of really good stuff. Sean Fantuzzi, I'm hopefully saying that right. Another great guy. Let's see. He's out of, I don't know where he's out of, but similar area, I think somewhere down south.
Cool.
Mike Tucker, who's works for Villanova Strength and Conditioning for their football team.
Nice.
Also in charge of Sprintember, if you're a runner.
Sprintember.
Yeah, that one has not made it to my account. As you can probably tell, as a baseball player, I was not a big sprinter. And then Dan Foley, who he just started his own account, our own business at Rude Rock Strength. Him and his wife, I believe it's his wife. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
okay,
yeah, a
cool.
couple good accounts to follow.
How'd you find these guys?
The funny thing is, when you asked me that question to kind of look into it,
Yeah.
I just clicked on one of them and they all follow each other. So I think
Nice.
just like between reposts and being in the algorithm of like these small fitness creators that post really good stuff,
That's
I
cool.
think they just got recommended. But yeah, it was funny. I just clicked on one of them and then I was like, oh, there's the whole list of all the guys that I recommend.
And they post like a lot of like either like athletic training stuff or like strength and conditioning stuff.
Just general fitness. I think it's very broad, but I would say most of it fitness. Some of them just like obviously the mental aspect of just life and just general life advice. But just I would say general fitness advice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question we got is favorite podcasts.
Favorite podcast.
And same thing, could be like just entertaining, health and fitness, whatever.
I went through a bbig fad of like listening to Bill Burr. Like he has a good
Nice.
talk podcast. Let's see. Yeah, we'll stay away from fitness. I don't know, like what's his name? Tom Segura. Your Mother's
Nice.
House is a great one.
And comedy.
Yeah. A lot of the podcasts I listen to are comedy, just because my hour drive to school, like it really gets things flying when listening to kind of comedy.
So Merrimack is in New Hampshire or Central
North
Mass?
Andover. It's right at the
okay.
line of New Hampshire. Like I think another 10 minutes north, and you're in New Hampshire.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's about an hour 15 drive there and back, or an hour and 15 drive to school.
Is most of your drive podcasts?
Yeah, I think now that I've done it so much, some of it's silence. To be honest, like
I believe that.
Yep.
I'm the same way. I still have a pretty good drive, but there'll be days where I'm just like, I just need silence and just need to just think.
especially on
just-
test days, I'm like, I don't need
Yeah.
anything else coming in,
Nothing else.
because you
That's
throw in
cool.
some comedy or anything else in my head, and I'll be thinking about it the rest of the day.
I had when I was living in Newport, I worked at Performance Physical Therapy, and there was a couple of exercise texts there, and like, oh, what do you listen to in the morning, or what do you listen to today? I'm like, Nothing. I just like silent drive. They're like, "Are you a psychopath?" I'm like, maybe a little bit.
When you
Could
do
be.
it so much, you're like so deconditioned to the
Yeah.
whole experience. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's funny you say that. I haven't heard too many people say that, so I like that.
Yeah.
So mostly
Just
and-
comedy. Like I
comedy,
think just
yeah.
light, like just getting away from fitness and just like I
Yeah.
don't know, especially during COVID
Something
and everything
different.
else. Like just that lighthearted, like get me through. No road rage, no nothing. Right? Just keep it lighthearted.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to come back on to graduate school because I'm definitely really interested in that.
Yeah, of course.
But next rapid fire, we got favorite books, and this could be. I know we talked about this off air too. You're probably deep into like a textbook for grad school, but maybe something you read recently, or if it literally is just you're just like bound up in school. That's a fine answer too.
Yeah, obviously now it's the textbook. But during COVID and pre-COVID, there was a couple books that I read. I don't remember any of the names of them, but one of them was written by Michael Phelps's trainer. And he
cool.
talked a lot about how to keep an athlete engaged, especially at that level. And that's a good read. Again, I have no idea what the name of it is, but I'm sure it comes up.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, it was written probably in the last 10 years. But just like, just cool stories. It wasn't like anything too crazy.
Beneath the Surface.
What's it look like? Let's see.
I think there's a couple of them. No Limits, The Will to Succeed, Beneath the Surface.
No Limits, The Will to
Yeah,
Succeed
that's
sounds
it?
really familiar.
Okay,
so I'm
cool.
going to say that that's it.
Maybe that's it.
And then what's Dan Carnegie's? If you look up how to win
A Friend's Influence.
Yeah,
That's a good one too.
that's a great one.
That's one I feel like I probably should reread because I read it a while ago.
Yep.
I probably forgotten everything about it.
I would say those are like the two books that like have sat on the top of the shelf that every once in a while I'll either go back and read a chapter or kind of go back and like everything's highlighted and that's important to me. So I'll just kind of go back and read what I highlighted.
The gym one of the gyms I go to F45, dropping from time to time.
course.
Bring the fiance with me. And one of the gym I go to in Providence, CrossFit Providence, we just started a book club.
Okay, yeah.
And one of the books reading right now is I'm gonna blank on the name. Eric Greitens is the author. It's who's a Navy SEAL. Resilience is the name of the book.
Yep.
But I bought the hardcover or softcover through Amazon through like they have options like $10 for brand new, like a hardcover, $8 for softcover, and then it was like 99 cents for like a used book. I'm like, I mean, sure, whatever.
Why not?
And I just came in yesterday and there's like highlights and notes all over it. I'm like, oh man. And I'm like, you know what? Actually, maybe this is not bad. Someone kind of did the work for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. For me, like I'm initially hearing that, and it's like, if something's highlighted that maybe that didn't catch your attention, like I'm reading into that a little bit. You know, I'm going back a few lines, going through it again. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
I like
not a
that.
bad thing.
And it's not something I really do much. But I
Yeah.
did in my textbooks, but like actually reading. So I like that. That's
yeah,
cool.
of course. You a big nonfiction guy? Like, is that?
I'm big nonfiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't read too. I think the last fiction book I read was Harry Potter, which is a while ago.
Yeah.
I might get back into it at some point because I know a lot of people, really smart people that are like big into fiction. So, but it just hasn't really caught my interest
Not yet.
recently. So,
Not yet.
yeah. How about you?
I think down the road I can see myself being a big fiction guy. You know, after the coffee, after everything else, we'll go back to fiction. So
Nice. I like it. So we got two more questions here for rapid fire. So any and it's just like Christmas area, Christmas time right now, but been anywhere recently, travel plans, anything like that?
I have not. So we traveled obviously for baseball, but that doesn't, it was
yeah.
stay in the hotel room and, don't explore. But when I graduated, I really wanted to travel a lot. My dad used to travel a ton with business. And, when I graduated, I was like, oh, I'm going to travel a bunch with him. Then COVID happened and, his job kind of changed and everything's virtual now.
Yeah.
So I have not. I'd really like to go to Nashville. That's like the big one. Yeah,
Sweet.
Nashville's kind of on the top of the list.
You can get there pretty cheap too.
Yeah. There's
I think like there's probably at TF Green there's some like nonstop flights that are pretty cheap there.
So I'm hopefully summertime. I think that's like
That'd be a
people
good
like
place
you
to
can
go.
go now, but I want to go midsummer. When it's packed. Like let's be honest, I want to get the full experience.
Do you like country music?
I do.
Oh, that'd be a great place to go.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of live music there.
Yeah.
I went there I think 2 or 3 years ago. And we had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Cool. All right, so let's get into a little bit of the meat and potatoes here.
Of course.
So starting with some of the overarching themes, obviously I want to get into your programming, but I kind of want to backtrack a little bit and get into and your athletic training, graduate school right now, but kind of how you got into like athletics and fitness, maybe starting with your background, and probably baseball.
Yeah,
Is how you got into it. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously baseball player growing up. Love baseball. Baseball was like everything to me. And I think
Started in high school.
yeah. I mean, started when I was t-ball, pretty much 3 years
All
old
right.
on. Yeah, so my dad was a baseball player, college baseball player, and I think that got passed down. And I had a couple older cousins who really loved baseball, and to kind of experience things with them, like that was kind of our middle ground. The competitive side of me, on top of being able to spend time with cousins. But yeah, baseball was everything to me. I think fitness started to bleed in when. This is where bodybuilding.com and bodybuilders really started to blow up, especially with social media starting to come out. So it was one of these things I was like, oh, like fitness can allow me to be a better baseball player. And that's when baseball players then, professional baseball players started talking about working out, getting bigger, getting stronger. So I think that's where it started to bleed into. And then obviously was fortunate enough to play at University of New Haven in Connecticut. And I think between the strength and conditioning coach, Paul Spada, so the strength and conditioning coach now at Bridgeport, a little shout out to him.
Nice.
And then our athletic training staff really meant a lot to me. I think they were mentors and they were really good mentors to me.
Nice.
I think that's where it kind of, once I graduated, I was like, you know what, these people meant so much to me and really changed my athletic experience that's what kind of pushed me to go in that direction.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I was just talking about this with someone the other day about how you really take for granted as a college athlete. I didn't play any college sports. I just did intramural like hockey and worked out and stuff like that. But as a college athlete, you really take for granted once you're out of that situation, the ability to just like have that athletic trainer like whenever you need them, just like work on injuries, like tightness, stuff like that. And then once you're out of school, you're like, oh, I wish I had that. Especially if you're still in the fitness world. You know? So that's really cool. What was it like for in college at New Haven as far as like the strength and conditioning side of things with baseball? Like what was your kind of normal like routine like on a weekly basis?
We did 3 days a week, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Programs were great. It was kind of broken down into like 3 groups, so to say. So obviously pitchers got their own workouts. So position players had their own workouts. And then program was written. We get it on sheets. They were usually 4-week cycles. And depending on how you were with certain lifts or kind of where you were strength-wise, like you'd follow the program generally. But if you weren't ready to touch the barbell for the barbell squat, you're doing goblet squats or something like that. But I really thought the programming, like I still, when I graduated and became a personal trainer, went back and looked at a couple of our old programs that I had like saved in my backpack. And I thought the program was great, to be honest. I think
awesome.
Obviously, again, going back to Paul, he was a great guy. He was a good strength and conditioning coach.
That's cool.
But 6 a.m. lifts, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Or Friday, it's kind of depending that third day flux between when we were free with practice and stuff.
Did you guys so with practice, I'm guessing you got a lot of like your agility and speed work.
Yep.
Did you do much of that also in the gym, or is it more focused on like strength building?
So it was the normal warm-up mobility right off the gate, and then plyometrics. Like whether we went down, we used to call it the core room, but it was like an old racquetball court. And we'd do med ball stuff down there. We'd sometimes do ladders, but it was a lot of just med ball, like plyometrics and stuff like that, and then into the strength stuff. That was kind of how it was formatted.
That's great too, because I'm sure with baseball, like rotational stuff is going to be huge. So med ball is a great way to use that.
Yeah, when they said core room, you're like, oh boy, here we go. 10-minute circuit of med balls. But it was fun. It was great. It made us a bunch of good players.
Jumping ahead a little bit, do you feel like a lot of the stuff you're doing at F45, is there a lot of similar drills? Because I just from going to some of the workouts, they use like the med ball, and there's a lot of rotational stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, taking classes and when I started getting into F45, like I was quick to tell everyone, like I feel like I'm back in athletics. Like I think I did take a step out of it when I was that one-on-one trainer for 3 years.
Sure.
But getting back into F45, especially with, in this program right now, Fridays are quarterback, so kind of football-oriented programs. I think it is very athletic-based. Like it makes me feel like I'm back in athletics and that college experience.
And the whole, like everybody there, almost like a team.
Yeah, it really is.
Cool.
It really is like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're all grinding together, right? That's what brings athletes together, is getting through those tough workouts and being like, hey, we all did that together.
That's cool. With those workouts too, when you're at New Haven, was there anything they advised you to kind of like stay away from? Because just from some of the stuff I've heard, like obviously with CrossFit, we're like, okay, the snatch is cool, but like that's not something we'd probably give it to like a baseball player, because like you have to protect the arms, like, especially throwing.
I can't speak for pitchers just because they had their own workout and I never really saw those. But
what position were you?
I was a middle infielder, so shortstop,
Nice.
second base.
Cool.
But I think for us, like nothing that we stayed away from specifically. I think that we just used modifications. So big trap bar, like we did barbell deadlift every once in a while, but majority was trap bar.
Yeah.
And then with the bench press, we had that bar that had the neutral grip, and we'd only really neutral grip press or floor press.
Cool,
It wasn't
okay.
like we never bench press with a straight bar.
Yeah.
But it was predominantly if we were going full range of motion with neutral grip. If we were going with the straight bar, it'd be floor press. But
Yeah.
again, nothing was ever talked about like you can't do this. I
Right.
think at individual levels, there were certain players, like we had one player who really squatting, barbell squatting, and anything with a barbell, so it was back squat or front squat, really bothered him, that he would go and goblet squat and do other stuff just
Do
for
his own
him.
thing.
But at the whole team level, no, it wasn't anything that we needed to stay away from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, sounds very individual basis based on like what
Yeah,
each player
they gave
needs.
us modifications on what was needed for us and what our goals were.
That's awesome. So where was the transition? What did you study at New Haven?
So I was bio pre-med at New Haven. That was my undergrad degree. Got my bachelor's in.
Very cool.
Yep.
That sounds tough.
That's what everyone says. I think it was a competitive program.
Yeah.
I think for me, like I was not very good at chemistry. Like anything chemistry.
Oh, chemistry was my worst subject.
I know. Usually that's what most PT says. So I was the same way. I really struggled in chemistry. But it was a challenging but good program. I think just what shocked me is when I graduated, it was like, well, what can you do? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, it's more of a stepping stone program. I was like, oh, that's great.
Right.
So I was like, it really left me high and dry there.
Yeah, that's something I feel like colleges don't do a great job with is just as in general. I don't know if they're better at it now, but like, okay, what are you going to do at the end of the 4 years
Yeah.
is like with this degree
Yeah.
specifically. So,
And I don't know if it's the difference between New Haven and Merrimack or undergrad or grad, but I think with the grad program I'm in now, it's totally different. Like
Yeah.
they're setting you up even in the first semester of the grad program for what it looks like once you graduate.
Totally.
Yeah, which is great.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I noticed especially with the undergrad degree I had was kinesiology.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like classmates of mine, are just like, they get to the end of the 4 years like, huh, what do I do with this?
Yeah,
It's like,
this is a cool piece of paper. I'm gonna
Yeah.
frame it and it
Right.
goes right on my wall. And now what?
What now? Because it's almost like a stepping stone, like a start of the degree, but
Yeah.
like, okay, well, what's the next step?
Yeah.
And there just wasn't a lot of just at that time, like maybe guidance.
Yeah.
You know. So, but yeah, it's so. When did you find out that you wanted to go into athletic training, or when did you decide?
So I was a big PT guy. Like that
Nice.
was, I think, when I went into my undergrad and pretty much through my most of my 4 years of my undergrad, I was like PT. PT's the way to go.
Yeah.
And then I graduated, and same thing. I was looking at jobs, and they're like, you can work in a lab handing test tubes from one person to another. I was like, that sounds terrible. So continue to work as a personal trainer, and then just kind of how the experience went as a personal trainer. And then I was kind of a mentor of someone else of mine who is close to me,
Nice.
who's actually my clinical preceptor this last fall, semester.
Sweet.
Kind of was like, hey, let's talk, let's figure out what you like. And, I've been in the industry for a while, like, let's talk it out. And at the end of that hour-long conversation, she was like, hey, I think AT is more of your route. I think what you like, what you're going for, like what you jive with is more AT than PT. And that was kind of, I don't know, that was it. That was the rest of everything picked up very quick after that. But I don't know, like I think I did very similar PT stuff at my old job, at my old personal training job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just that need to go back into athletics, and especially the mentorship that I had as an athlete, I was like, I want to be that person. I
Yeah.
really want to make a difference in these athletes.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Where are you at in your grad program right now?
So I'm in my second semester. Just finished my second semester
Nice.
of 5. So I graduate in spring of 2024.
Nice.
Let me do math again here. Yeah, 5.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Are you doing a lot of like on the field training right now too, or is it mostly just in the books?
So we just had to do 150 hours. It was you needed to do 150 hours for the fall semester, and we were all spread out throughout high schools.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it was, I think I finished with 250 hours of clinical experience. So it was good. Yeah, it was a good fall.
Nice. Anywhere around here?
I was up in Dedham, so at
Dedham.
Nobles
Okay,
in
cool.
Greenboro,
Cool.
which is a private school up there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then so you've been also working as a trainer.
Yep.
Kind of along the like that whole time. When did you start doing that?
When did I become a trainer?
Yeah.
This was my end of my junior year in college. someone just kind of showed me the NASM program or the certificate, and I was like, hey, this is something that I think at the time was like $200. So studied for like 6 weeks, took the test, passed, and then was trained, I think, a total of like 5 people through my junior and senior year of college.
Yeah,
but it was just enough to get my foot in the water.
Yeah, yeah. That I was the same way. Like I got my CSCS after I graduated, and then for my first like year, I don't even know if I did my third year. By first 2 years of grad school at PT, I probably trained like one person a week.
Yep.
Just like just a little
just
bit,
enough to just like be
yeah.
that. But yeah,
like I'm kind of busy with all the work, but it was fun.
Yeah,
I like doing it.
It was enough to pay for gas and a little bit of the, like Taco Bell or fast food, right?
Whatever we're eating at the time, which was not healthy.
No,
we had like a little Subway like right outside the gym, so I was big $5 foot long meatball sub guy.
There you go, enough to pay for one of those.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's cool. And so when did you get into F45?
Let's see. I think it's coming up on a year, so I think February of last year.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. What drew you into that?
I had a bunch of life changes. So I think with grad school starting up, I think leaving my old job, which was a one-on-one personal trainer,
yep.
I was just ready for something different.
Nice.
And F45 was something that was really blowing up in Connecticut. Obviously, I'm sure with CrossFit's the same way, but a lot of athletes that I played at New Haven either went CrossFit or F45. So I dabbled in CrossFit, so I kind of checked that box.
Nice.
I didn't know anything about F45. So seeing everyone post about F45 and seeing these former athletes really enjoy it, I was like, all right, well, I've done CrossFit. I've done the one-on-one personal training. Let me check out F45.
Yeah.
So someone kind of pointed me to F45 in Natick, who's also the same owner of Cranston. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm kind of the same way. Like I'll bounce around. Like I've done the Orange Theory, F45, try a little bit of everything, and it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff in its own way. Different. Like, but I think especially the really popular programs like the Orange Series, F45s, like, and we'll talk about this in another way in a second. But like the programming's sound.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, there's smart people programming these classes. It's not like someone woke up and threw a bunch of things like together. No, these are months in advance put together.
Yeah, it's really well done. And coming from like someone like you or me, like looking at it from the outside, I'm like, wow, like that was a really good way to do that. Like,
it's funny that we share that because I'm always like, I like how they did that.
Yeah, I teach small, like really small group classes here, and I'll sometimes like pick pieces of like what I find like, I like that scheme, or I like the way they like did that imam or whatever, like, and I'll use it or borrow it or steal it, whatever.
Yeah, I think for me it was leaving that one-on-one setting. I think so. I trained a ton of clients with that one-on-one setting, but when I was going back to grad school, I was like, I want to train as many people in less time. How do I do that class setting? So I was like, I think I'm ready for that change.
Yeah, and in a way, it's almost back to like your sports, like in the weight training room. That's cool. Yeah. So getting to your programming.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this a little bit off air too. So you've done the Squatober, you've done the Deadcember, which I just found out about. I know they've probably been running Squatober for a while, but I just found out about it this year.
They're under a decade. I think both of them are going on like their 7th year. I think Squatober, this was their 7th year, and I'm gonna guess Deadcember is similar to it, at least 5 or 6 years.
Do you feel like they blew up more this year, or did I just catch wind of it? Were they pretty big last year?
It's so I learned about it because my strength and conditioning coach, going back to that guy Paul, he did it my junior year of college.
Okay.
And I was like, we all saw him because he never really worked out, or at least we never really saw him work out.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of like a 3 or 4 day guy, but he was starting to work out near our hours, which was early morning.
Sure.
And he was always squatting. We're like, what is going on? And he's like, oh, I'm doing this program called Squatober. I don't know. That's where I saw it. And I said, obviously, when I graduate, like, I'm going to do it. Like, that's when I'm going to be able to fully do it from start to finish. Have they blown up? Their numbers, they post their numbers at the end of each month. And I think it's been a slow progression.
Yeah.
I think that just between people posting it that we know, like it seems like it's really blown up.
Yeah.
I think for me, like we did Squatober with a group of 15, like every one of us who all know each other, all posting it really caused a lot of people to ask questions on what it really was. But I don't know. I mean, I think the numbers have just been a really good slow progression to where they are now. It's
really cool. And then for people who don't know, basically, and you could probably explain it maybe better than me, but they start it in October.
Yep.
And they release a program every day.
Yeah, so it's you're squatting every day. It's a barbell squat every day, Monday through Friday. So if this is Squatober, you're squatting every day, Monday through Friday. The workouts get posted at noon the day before. And everything's percentage based. They're full body workouts. Again, you get the weekends off. But again, it's posted. I think that's the fun aspect of it, where for some years and years past, I've done it at 8 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the workout not knowing the next day's workout, or vice versa. This year I did all the workouts in the afternoon, and I'm doing the workout and I already know what tomorrow is. So if like tomorrow's like 90% for whatever, I'm like, great, this stinks.
I'll probably go a little bit easier today.
Yeah. So, but again, it's written by, so Squatober is written by Aaron Osmus, who's the strength and conditioning coach at University of California. Deadcember is written by Daniel McKim, I believe is his name, who trains Highland Game athletes. And both of them are super smart. I mean, you can tell with their programming. And I know a lot of people here, squatting every day or deadlifting every day for a month. But there's reasons, there's a lot of thinking that goes behind it.
Yeah,
so.
there's ways. The first time I heard the concept of squat every day was Corey. I forget his last name. He was running the Muscle Farm company for a while. I think I heard it on maybe like one of the Barbell Shrug podcasts, something like that. But there are people who run programs like that. Yeah. And there's a way to do it.
No, there's a proper way to do it. Yeah, there's ways to do it. I mean, there's, you'll see like Wednesdays are usually like kind of deload days where it's like 2x2 at 60%. But the main focus of the goal is to PR. I mean, you're supposed to try to max out before the month starts. So if you're doing Squatober before October 1st, and then the last day of the month, the last Friday of the month, you're maxing out. And they have, even then, that's still prescribed. You're working 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 92, 95, 100. So, but that is the goal, is to PR in that movement.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it could even be like you said, if you miss out the month, because they do delete the workouts like the day after.
Correct.
Or something like that.
The next day. So for January 1st, all the Deadcember programs will be gone, or workouts will be gone.
And I feel like they already start deleting them like even before that, like the ones
with
that early
Squatober
on.
this year they did.
They did,
because I sat there on the last day. I go, I'm just gonna screenshot them on the last day, and I
yeah.
started to, and I was like, a quarter of them are gone, which is fine. The program's free for those who don't know, so it's fair. Like,
totally.
If you're screenshotting it throughout, like it's a fair compromise to.
And like you were saying off air, so you can just, it costs $20 if you want.
I believe it on pen and paper. On pen and I think it's Pen and Paper Strength app is the website. Yeah. You can buy them for like $25, and they have, I think, going back to so Squatober was 2015. That was the first year.
Okay.
So that's going on year 7. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I mean, the whole novelty of it is like, oh, they're posting a workout tomorrow. It's on Instagram. It's free. And then it's like deleted at the end of the month, and like there's so many people like throughout the U.S., probably the world, like doing that same program. Yeah. It's cool. So if you go on their Instagram accounts, they will repost as many people as they can. So I've never seen Instagram story like the bar be so small, because you're like just pounding away trying to get through them. But it is cool because you see, like, with Squatober, they had a couple funky workouts. So they almost took, like, I would say, the CrossFit style of like AMRAP, which they've never done in the past for Squatober, where like it was days of 90% as many doubles as you can in 10 minutes, which is very similar to CrossFit. Yeah.
And to see how many sets you got, and then kind of your bar speed and how it looked and felt. And then you go on the Instagram stories and you're like, oh, I mean, this person got 8 just like me, or their bar speed was similar to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of this all in, we all grinded this together type of deal.
That's cool. And did they even like write? Because I only did some of the workouts for it this year. I didn't do the full program, but did they even write in like keep your bar speed high? Because I know they write notes and
they try to. I think like with that workout, no, they didn't. But they do kind of throw in the notes of like, so this is obviously for Deadcember, test days Friday. So today's workout and tomorrow's workout is singles, and they did put, an asterisk, move as quick as you can. So today was 80% for one, move it as quick as you can. Tomorrow's 70% for one, move it as quick as you can. Yeah.
And then this Friday is max out?
Yep. So just testing deadlift. So just work up to a heavy single, which we good.
Did you do Deadcember this year too?
Yeah, so I'm about to finish up Deadcember.
Let's go.
Yeah, which has been great.
That's great.
Yeah.
How'd you do with Squatober this year?
Squatober, I thought the program was one of the better ones written.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I think on week 3, like I kind of really tweaked my hip. I was just getting lazy with warm-ups and taking care of my body. So instead of maxing out on the last day, I hit a heavy single and then worked down for 315 for an AMRAP.
Sweet.
Yeah, which was still fine. I loved it. I think what made this year's experience great was, again, that group of 15 that we had. Because getting away from, Instagram, it's the people who, we had this one guy who was doing the workouts at 5 a.m. every day, and he's sending a 5:45. Guys, it's tough. Like, good luck with this. And you're like, I'm just rolling out of bed, man. Like, but good for you. He was grinding. And I think, so we also then all tested. So I think we had 9 people go into the gym and all PR. Right in that last day. So I think it's great.
Vibes are high.
Yeah, we're all wearing our, Squatober shirt that we bought from the website, and vibes are high, music's loud. Like, it was great. I think that aspect of it is really fun.
That's fantastic. And their logos are sweet, which, like, I want to get into your programs next, because I feel like, and you can tell me obviously all about it, but like, when I was looking through your programs last night, as I was like kind of like getting ready for the podcast, I'm like, wow, this like reminds me of like the same vibe of like Squatober Deadcember.
So obviously you can tell the inspiration's there. Going back, just a little fun tidbit is for my country music fans, Zach Brown band, Zach Brown, the singer, on one of his guitars has a Squatober sticker on his guitar. He has 2 years ago, he posted a decent amount about it. I'm guessing he still does it. I think he's on his Instagram mentioned it here and there, but like 2 years ago, he like most of the workouts posted, and he does have a sticker on one of his guitars. It's just the mustache, which was like the original Squatober logo.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of similar story. I went to a Kip Moore concert in East Providence. I guess right over the line in Providence.
At what venue?
Whatever venue that's called right there. I forget the name of it, but Matt Frazier was there.
You're like, hey, Matt.
He's like, hey, what's up, Matt? Just gave him a fist bump. He's like, yeah, just enjoying the show.
And just Matt Frazier just hanging out.
Who is? I mean, for most people would know, but he's like the GOAT of CrossFit. He like won more. I think he won more than Rich Froning. But
yeah, correct. His last, or I think he has one more win than Rich.
Yeah. Yep. So his fiance, I think they're still fiance. Sammy is a Rhode Islander, I believe.
I believe so,
something like that.
Yeah,
so,
and he's from Vermont, so he's still in the New England area.
East Coast guy.
Yeah.
But interesting country and fitness mashup.
Yeah,
there.
it's crazy. So,
but so one of the ones and you have it in front of you right here.
Correct.
So we got the JurASSic Park, and the ASS is
highlighted.
Is highlighted there, so you can see for the video for the YouTube. We get the dinosaurs with the big butt cheeks. So there's obviously like a glute or like a squat.
Yeah, so I have Bad Day to Be a Bench, which is predominantly upper body or an upper body focus, and then JurASSic Park, which was the lower body focus. But they're both full body workouts. It just really comes down to, are you trying to put more mass and strength upper body, or are you trying to put more mass and strength lower body? But again, they're both full body programs. But yeah, the whole focus was, what I took from Squatober and Deadcember was, here's on kind of just on paper, they're tough workouts. I mean, anyone who's done Squatober or Deadcember, even just does one of the workouts, they're brutal. They're tough. They can be tough. But the fact of, if you look at some of the Squatober warm-ups, it's walk into the gym acting like a T-Rex, or, try to pull the door open with your butt cheeks. Like this like welcoming warm-up kind of intro, and then the recovery is eat as many cookies as you can, or try to eat have a thing of ice cream with your opposite hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just having that like aspect of like, it's a good program, but you're getting to general population by not making it scary. So I think obviously there's the funny cartoon, and everything's handwritten. So, I went into an app, wrote it all out by hand. Bunch of doodles. You see some funny jokes thrown in there, or at least I think
you
they're
draw
fun.
these?
Yeah, that's my handwriting. Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's a fantastic Triceratops.
Yeah, so I obviously just looked up, dinosaur cartoon, and just kind of kept going until it went well. But yeah, I think there's some good jokes thrown in there, and I don't know, it's welcoming. It's right, that handwritten aspect, I think, gets away from, as we were talking about before the podcast started, that you buy the program. We don't have to dive too much into him, but Joel Seidman, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I bought one of his programs. I think it's 85 pages long. If I'm being honest, I think there's 25 pages of everything about the body. I thought it was a textbook. And then it ends with 5 pages of why you should buy everything else from him. And I was just like, this is way too much. Because when you open the PDF, right, I mean, this is now there's good notes and there's different files that you can save. But every time I opened up the PDF, it was back at page 1. So I'm like scrolling through 30 pages to get through day 2 to day 3. And I was just like, no, keep it handwritten. Keep it simple. And yeah, I don't know. I had fun with it.
He's an interesting guy. He's definitely, I would say, polarizing in like the PT, like fitness world, Joel Seedman, just because he has very different
opinions.
Ideas. Yeah, very strong opinions. Yeah, very strong opinions on obviously
black or white.
He's a smart
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people out there, because on Instagram you get rewarded for being black or white. So
what it
like
is.
it makes you more popular, but I think a lot of the stuff is in the gray area.
He's a great great businessman. I'll put it that way, right? Yes. I mean, let's just call it like it is. He's a great businessman, and that's right. He knows what to do on social media. So
right. No, this is great. And like another thing, obviously, like the simplicity is awesome. It's like you said, it's handwritten, which makes it like seem very easy to like. Okay, I can do this. Yeah. It's like easy barrier to entry. What's cool on like the Squatober on Instagram too is when you click on it, like sometimes it's almost like a puzzle. Like what does this workout mean? And my friend put it funny. He's like, hey, if you can't figure it out, I guess you can't do it. So it's just like, sorry.
Yeah, they obviously with Squatober, it being around Halloween time, there was, I think, choose your own, I think is what they call it, a choose your own adventure workout. So you could have done, you needed to hit 21 reps. So you could do 3 sets of 7. You could do, what was it, 5, 5, 5, I don't know. So like, 5, 5, 5, 6, or there was another one. And it was obviously a heavier percentage. But like that was the thing. I think the 7s was Dancing with Pennywise or something like that. So they add those themes, and the big Deadcember one that's come up is Narwhal. Like Narwhal's the name of it. It's
like the whale.
Yeah. Like I don't know where that started. I don't know if I'm missing a joke.
There's definitely some inside.
Yeah, I think there's probably a joke that's going over my head in that sense. But with the eccentric workouts, it's always gone Debbie Downer. Obviously the typical powerlifting sets and reps of 5x5. It's the Arby's 5x5 deal. So like little like jokes like that for the names as well, which kind of for those who do Deadcember or Squatober multiple years, when you see, you click on the, it's just posted, you click on it, and it's, Debbie Downer, immediately, okay, this is going to be an eccentric day.
That's cool.
So you see returns again. The seesaw always comes back every year, and for Deadcember, there's dice rolls. You roll for what you need to do, or you flip a coin. Like that was the other day. You flip a coin for what your sets and reps are.
Oh yeah, I saw you post on that.
Yeah. So and I always get the worst one every time for the dice roll one. I think I'm just gonna skip it moving forward because
like,
I
whatever.
always roll 6s, and it's like, okay, you got to do 85% for 6 reps for 6 sets. It's like not a 1, not a single one.
Yeah. Brutal. Yeah, that's the dice roll.
I guess so.
All right, that's really cool. That's one thing I saw yesterday. I'm like, wow, those are the way you do the programming. I love it. Nobody does it like that.
No. So for those listening that are interested, obviously I haven't posted on my social media. They're $20. So that's really all I ask for.
Yeah.
It's again, I don't want it to be, you're dropping $80 to $100 and you feel forced to do it. Like that was another thing where
it's overcomplicated.
Yeah, people who bought them or were thinking about buying them and who were like, listen, like the bad day to be a bench was 6 weeks, and someone was like, listen, I got 3 weeks to work out, and then I'm going back to college, and then I'm going to be doing the CrossFit or whatever out there. I was like, listen, just it's $20. Like buy it, do 3 weeks, and then just come back to it later, right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to, or even the people apologizing, like, oh, I did 2 weeks and my life got busy. I'm like, it's fine.
Hey, whatever, you did 2 weeks.
It's not
that's
it's
a good
not
thing.
that program that's 12 weeks, and if you miss a day, you need to restart over. No, it's just go have fun, go enjoy working out and doing these movements.
It's not the 75 hard of workouts. You can continue where you want.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. I was like, if you got 2 days, they're 4 days. The goal is to do 4 days a week. That's how they're written. So it's week 1, or you got week 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Like if you only got 2 days, do days 1 and day 2, and then the next week just do days 3 and day 4. It doesn't really matter. You know,
it works.
Saying?
Yeah, it's flexible.
Yeah,
that's nice. All right, so shifting gears slightly. So want to know a little bit more about kind of where you're at for nutrition, what you're taking for supplements, kind of that aspect.
So for supplements, I just take a daily vitamin and then protein powder.
Do you have any brands you like?
Target has, it's vitamin something. It's like really thin powdered. It comes in a clear container. that's really good. But at this point, like with my budget, it's just whatever I can buy. Yeah, let's see, BPN. So that's what Bear Nutrition, right?
Yeah.
They're great. I've really enjoyed them, and a lot of people really like their stuff. Especially if you like greens or that, what is it, the reds that they have.
Okay, yeah.
But no, I think, Target has this like name brand, not even name brand. You know what I'm saying? It's
store brand.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's great.
As long as you're hitting those protein numbers. Do you do any tracking?
I used to. At this point, I think I eat the same stuff. Like I'm very consistent
where you're
with what I take. Premier Protein's really good too. So Target sells the pre-made shakes, or they have the protein powder. I've recommended that to a lot of clients as well.
Nice.
But it really just like there have been pre-workouts that people have loved and I've had bad reactions to where it just didn't feel great, or vice versa, where I've had protein powder from Target where someone bought it and was like, it just upset my stomach. I'm like, okay, just stay away from it.
Take something different. I've found that like when I first started training, I could take anything, but like I don't know if it's just like I'm 30 now, like my stomach's like more sensitive, but I've done pretty good on the gold standard.
Yeah.
Like I can take that no problem and my stomach feels fine.
Yep.
But yeah, for when I first got into it, I was taking just like the cheapest, like the 6-star nutrition, cheap one I could get at Walmart. And I think it was like $15 for like a 2-pounder at the time. I don't know what it is now. And, but yeah, eventually I hit a point where I'm like, my stomach was not cooperative.
No. And that was me with pre-workout. So about a year ago, I was in so much pain. Like I took a pre-workout. I don't remember what it was. And like I told my dad, I was like, I gotta go to the hospital. Like my stomach's killing me. They found like a couple ulcers in my stomach, and they were like, did you take like a supplement? I was like, yeah, I've been taking this pre-workout. And I really haven't
holes in your stomach.
I was like, I really like, I don't want to be taking this anymore. I'm not saying not to take pre-workout, but it's like one of those things, especially, now with all these companies and these newer companies coming out, posting a ton on social media, like just really be careful in what you're taking.
Totally.
It's just one of those things that just with Monster, like even just half a Monster is like plenty enough for me. And that's what it works, right? I don't need to be.
That's ideal. Yeah. You don't need to be like overdoing it on caffeine.
I need music, if my headphones die, it's gym's over.
Game over.
I don't know. It hasn't happened. I carry 2 extra pairs of headphones in my bag. They're like the cords.
Oh, there we go. Like these ones.
Yeah. So
good
like,
to go.
yeah, like the old like iPhone ones. And I'm like, if there's ever that day where my AirPods and those both kick the bucket,
she's like, all right, time for a rest day.
I'll be that guy who leaves the gym. I'm not gonna lie.
What's your go-to music?
I'm on a big rap fad right now. Like obviously the big booty mixes were great just because it's like you play and then you don't have to look at your phone. Like I'm not a big like look at my phone guy in the gym.
Yeah.
But Future, I think Future just came out with a new album. That's
Did
what I
he?
was listening on the way. Let's see. What album was I listening to today? I Never Liked You. Is that newer?
Okay.
It came out this year.
Okay.
But
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah,
I'm big. Like if I'm getting after in the gym, it's pretty much all rap.
Yeah.
But I listen once in a while, I'll switch it up. But it's pretty much for a long time just been hip hop. It's usually newer hip hop, like Future. Little Baby's been like a big one of mine, like this year, just in general. But that gets me in the zone for sure.
My Spotify users, we have that group of 15 of us had a Squatober 2022 playlist for Spotify.
Oh.
It's a little bit of everything. It's like rock, metal, EDM. So
Nice.
it's a good, it's good for those kind of looking for a little bit of everything in the gym.
All right, I'm gonna have to plug that into
there you
the
go.
show notes. Squatober 2022 Spotify playlist.
Yep. Let's see, it's got a decent amount. We threw a bunch of songs in there. Let's see. It is
a couple hours.
5 hours long.
Hey, it's good for a couple
If you're
sessions.
working out for 6 hours, I don't know what to tell you. You're out of luck. But
switching topics again. So we covered nutrition, supplements. What are you doing for recovery? Because I know you said you had a little issue with Squatober, and you were able to kind of like work on that and get through it. So whether it be like stretching, foam rolling, massage, ice heat, like what are you doing overall?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of everything. I think being it was great for me because this was second semester of athletic training. So I'm going to school with a bunch of athletic trainers who are learning how to assess lower body injury. So I had a couple of my classmates look at it. We do have like the Nordic boots at school. We have cupping. We have Game Ready like in the lab.
Nice.
So just utilizing as much of that as I could. But yeah, heating pad here and there, stretching, just moving, right? I think obviously the big saying right now is motion is lotion.
Yeah.
So just trying to move, and I ended up, once it got bad enough, writing my own like rehab program as well.
Nice. Good.
But again, being able to be assessed by classmates and have classmates grassed in, cupping, all that, it was great.
Nice.
I get a little cheat code there, but
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like literally being in class. Do you go every day? Is it class?
it was
or-
Monday through Thursday
Nice.
the last 2 semesters.
So pretty much every day.
Yeah, and we got a lab full of everything. There's just a bunch of kids ready to learn and excited to use the equipment.
Like,
when I
hey,
use
who
them.
wants to help me out? Who
Yeah,
wants to-
exactly,
Was it
yeah.
your hip or your back or?
It was, so I think, it was more of a hip flexor issue, but
Okay.
really what it came down to was like a weak glute. Like my right glute was so much weaker than my left glute. So it was, strengthening my right glute, and then just like my adductors were so tight. So loosening the adductors, strengthening the glutes.
Nice.
Really is what it came down to. But yeah, foam rolling, like I keep a foam roller in my bed, and we keep it in one of the TV rooms as well.
Sweet.
I'm just utilizing that, right? If you're just watching TV or Netflix, just like sitting on the foam roller and just,
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right, so we're gonna start to get into our wrap up. So last couple questions here for you. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing awesome.
Yeah.
So this question sometimes trip people up, but what have you found to be biggest roadblock? And this could be like your one-on-one clients. This could be like maybe F45. But what's one of the biggest roadblocks that you see for maybe new clients coming in or clients you've had for a while that gets in the way of their success? So maybe it's like with their weight loss or like gaining strength or being accountable, like falling off. Anything you've seen consistently over and over again, like, okay, this is troublesome for people.
I think it's just the experience in general. I think a lot of people come in like, because here's the deal: the people who like the gym and aren't afraid of the gym are going to the public gym on their own. So
Yeah.
the people coming into either a one-on-one personal training studio, an F45, Orange Theory, CrossFit, are people who are nervous. They don't know what they're doing. They think they don't know what they're doing. They feel like they need someone to tell them what to do. I think it's just like the nervousness of being in the gym. And I think that's what's important as trainers and healthcare providers is to make a personal connection with these people. Like they're looking at us. Again, I'm 20. For those who don't know, I'm 25. So at my old job, my average client was like 50 to 55 years old. They're coming in, and here's this 20-year-old who they feel like they don't have any connection with, who feel like, hey, maybe this is a drill sergeant, right? I mean, a lot of the social media stuff you sometimes see is people screaming, do burpees, or what is it, Biggest Loser, right? Obviously, for clients who are coming in being 50 years old, for them, their only personal training knowledge or what they know about personal trainers is what they saw on TV with Biggest Loser. So they're sitting there being like, this is what to expect. And that's not the case. So you need to making it a welcoming environment. I think obviously like F45, right? You've been in that, right?
So welcoming.
Yeah, it's you come in, how are you doing? Like, and we're already trying to learn about you, right? And it's not how much do you squat, how much do you bench? It's, hey, like, what do you do for work? Or what do you like? Like, do you have family in the area? Like, have you always been here? Like, we're asking you questions about yourself. I think that's just like the biggest thing is if people don't like the environment, like that's what's gonna prevent them from really getting right. I mean, I don't know, you can speak on it as well, but like once people get to the gym, they do what they're supposed to. They get the work in, right? It's no one really ever comes to the gym and is 15 minutes into the workout and goes, I'm just going to leave. No, they come and they do the work, right?
They finish.
Yeah. So
they finish the work.
It's human nature to kind of finish what we start. It's the problem is getting to the gym. And that's, I think in that book with Michael Phelps' trainer, he talked about if you don't want to go to the gym, just put your shoes on. Or Precision Nutrition talks about this as well. Like if you wake up and you're not motivated to go to the gym, okay, well, let's just put our gym clothes on. Okay, let's put our shoes on. Let's just get in the car. And then, okay, if you get in the car and you don't want to go, then that's okay. But like, okay, you got in the car, like let's put music on. Let's just like, what's your pre-gym music? Let's throw that on. And okay, let's drive to the gym. And again, if you get to you do all that, you get to the gym and you're really not feeling it. Okay, then take the day off. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think the biggest thing is like, if you don't create a nice, welcoming environment, like that's what prevents people from getting there. I think a lot of the times in my experience is people are like, I didn't want to come today, but like I wanted to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
A lot of my one-on-one clients, like it was almost like therapy or meeting up with a
Sure.
friend, right? Because
Sure.
they were like, listen, I didn't want to come today, but something happened with my dog, or I saw this new TV show and I needed to tell you, and that's why I'm here. And now that I'm here, I guess I'm gonna, actually get my workout in. But like that's really a big part of it, is just like, and I've seen the opposite end. So with those clients who are 50 years old, one of the questions we had on our questionnaire was, have you worked with a personal trainer before? And obviously we got no a lot of the times, but there was a good amount of people that said, yeah, I have. And the next question, the follow-up question was, well, how was that experience? And they said terrible. And that happened when they were 20, 25 years old, and they haven't
Wow.
gone back to a personal training studio in 15 years because of that one trainer that they had a bad experience with.
That's a great question to ask
Yeah.
in the intake form, because if you didn't ask that, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some deep-rooted things that if you address those early on, it could just make the whole experience way better.
Yeah,
It's a great
If
question.
it wasn't a good if
Yeah.
it wasn't a good experience, well, why? What was the case?
Why? Let's fix that.
A lot of the times it was the environment or the personal trainer.
Yeah.
I very rarely probably hear someone say it was because I had to do this movement in one program, right? They're not
Yeah.
going to say that. They're not going to say it was a bad experience because of the movements. It's always because my trainer was he wasn't personable, or they weren't personable. They were mean. They weren't caring, or the
They didn't
environment
care.
was
Yeah.
they were judging. It was I don't know, just people were stuck up. It's either the environment or an individual that
Yeah.
ruins it, right? It's not, oh man, my trainer was great, but they programmed Bulgarian split squats in a program. That's not gonna ruin an experience for someone, right?
Yeah.
So
It's funny you say that, because just today I was talking to a friend, and he's like, oh, one of his buddies is getting into the gym for the first time, seriously, and he's like, oh, I was doing bench and I failed a rep, and I had to throw the plates off to the side and throw the plates off to the other side. And he goes, well, why didn't you ask for a spot?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, everybody here is kind of is mean. I'm like, oh, really? And I could see that. I guess knowing what I know now, I would always ask for a spot.
Yeah.
But if you're new and you're kind of nervous around the environment, and I could definitely see that the environment is a
Yeah.
big piece of it.
I think social media has really gotten its hand on the fitness industry, and yes, there's some things that drive me crazy, but I do want to say that the social media, the fitness social media aspect, has really, I think, made the gym a little bit better. For me, who goes to a public gym, people are talking to each other. I think that it's being posted on social media to talk to that person who's lifting next to you and to make
Yeah.
friends. And I think it is doing a lot of good
Yeah.
in that sense, where, I don't know, there was just one day last week where it was like a group of 18 of us strangers all just talking to each other, and we were just having a great conversation, because I think
That's
three of us
cool.
were having a convo, and then this guy was like, yeah, I'm gonna hop in, and it was great. It was
That's
awesome. And
awesome.
it's good to see. And I think that's one positive thing that is coming from these fitness accounts being posted, or especially these fitness influencers on
Sure.
TikTok, and showing those conversations in between sets. I think 5 years ago was montages or highlights of workouts, right? I remember
Yeah.
going back to watching the bodybuilders, watching them just lift a ridiculous amount of weight. But I think now with these vlogs almost, where you see
Sure.
people have a mic clipped to their shirt or to a hat or whatever, or a chain, that you see those in between set conversations, and
Yeah.
how it is welcoming and stuff like that. And for those listening who maybe struggle to feel that way, obviously there's spotlight syndrome, where I can tell you as a trainer, everyone thinks the same thing, where they're like, oh my God, everyone's worrying about, or they're looking at me. But I promise everyone's sitting there being worrying about themselves. I can promise you that. And don't ever be afraid, especially for safety reasons,
Yeah.
to ask. And
Right.
yeah, there are some individuals don't talk to you. I mean, you can tell if the individual who's grunting and screaming and giving death stares, everyone maybe might not be your spotter, but there are
There's
plenty
probably
of people.
somebody else
You know
there.
what I'm saying? Those are far and few between. I think
Yeah.
5 years ago you saw a lot more. I remember being at a gym in high school and college where that was predominantly what was going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think you still see those individuals. and good for them. They're getting their work in, but maybe just not the best spotter. And I think that there's now people who, and even you can ask employees, right? That's another thing that people don't think about is those employees are obviously there to help you and have a good experience. That the person behind the front desk is probably someone who's into the gym and they can spot you, right? So those are all things to
I've
consider.
definitely done that before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of times you get friendly with the front desk people if you're going there a lot, so you maybe know them the best.
Yeah.
So you can grab them like, hey, can you give me a spot real quick?
So
one more point on that too is like a lot of times the biggest, scariest looking people in the gym are the biggest teddy bears. Too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for those who follow me on Instagram. It's December 28th. I don't know when this will be posted, but obviously, if you go on my Instagram, I look like a goofy dancing all the time person. But when I lift, I get serious, and I posted a screenshot today of me giving a death stare to a post. It was not even anyone to my right, but I'm giving a death stare to my right, and that's again, I can see how I can look. But I'm, as anyone can probably tell in this podcast, not the case, right?
No, definitely.
But yeah, I thought that's why I posted it. I was like, listen, for those who think that, or I bust their chops for being serious at F45, I'm like, I'm the same way. Like the athlete in me is like,
in the zone.
Yeah. So
the same thing. Next question, which is basically the same question, but asked in a different way. So if it's the same answer, we'll see.
No, that's right.
What have you found to be, again, with your clients, maybe F45, personal training, as you've been training, what have you found to be the biggest, quote unquote, keystone habits? So I took this word out of the book, Atomic Habits, which I really like. I don't know if you've heard of that one before or read it before. James Clear is the author of that. And it's just about like how basically your daily habits kind of make like who you are as a person. So the keystone habit is one habit that can kind of like almost have a domino effect to like other habits. Yeah. So one example, I forget who made the speech, but there's a guy. So like you even said like putting your shoes on. Yeah. There was a guy who had a commencement speech. I think he might have been like a Navy SEAL or something military. He was like, oh, most important thing is like make your bed every day because it'll like
it's that first
domino.
Win. It's getting the snowball rolling.
So the question kind of relates to that. So what have you found to be the biggest keystone habit or tendencies for clients that you've seen to make people successful?
I think consistency, right? That's the word that gets thrown around a lot. I mean, that's for the client aspect is being consistent, right? You can have the best program, you can have the best workouts, but if they're far and few between, you're not going to maybe see the results. And it doesn't have to be about fitness either, right? With nutrition, right? It's being consistent, right? It's not about eating these super foods or whatever, right? It's just eating good foods consistently, eating more good foods than bad foods. I mean, that's really comes down to that. Or
like that.
If you're someone that has a glass of wine or is having a beer, just limiting that down, right? Have more days without going without it than with it. I think as trainers, so to reword the question to trainers, it's being caring. I think that's the most important thing as us healthcare providers is dive into these people, right? They're not just clients and they're not just paychecks or just dollar bills, right? These are people. And if you learn about them, like that's going to get people in the door and that's going to have people stay in the door, right? I think something that I take pride in is clients that I trained years ago, I still keep in touch with, and nothing about fitness. It's just like, hey, my son or daughter got married, or this life event happened. I was just thinking about you, and hope things are well. Like that's just caring about those people is the most important thing. So I think as clients, staying consistent, for all of us, staying consistent. Right, you can take a mediocre program, but if you're consistent with it, you're going to get more results than the best program that you do here and there.
I like that.
And then as healthcare providers, I think it's important for us to care about these individuals, right? Like see the individual for who they are. I think for me, I have this like weird approach of like everyone's got a story and it's so cool. Like if there was anything that I learned going into I was told, all right, most of the clients are 50 years old. That was my old boss was like, hey, most of these clients are 50 years old. Like, just to give you a heads up, I was like, I'm not going to have anything in common with these people. But half the time I was like, the 45 minutes would be up. I'm like, I don't want the next session to happen because I want to learn about, a lot of them were finance people, like finances or just like things going on in their life. Just everyone's got a cool story to tell and try to learn about it. Try to learn about them. Right. So
that's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll move on. Next question here. Last big one, I would say, but, what's one thing that you think most people is true? And this may be worded
That's okay.
too long, but what's one thing that you feel like most people think is true that they're actually mistaken. And another way to word this is like maybe a common myth around like health and fitness, or a common misconception, or even nutrition.
Yeah. Oh boy, what's that movie? I'm terrible with celebrity names. I know anyone listening that knows me knows that that's the case.
I'm
but
the same, so I probably can't
what's
help
that? There's a fighting movie where I think he hurts his neck and they put him in like the halo.
you. Oh,
But in that, I know this is like
I'm gonna
so
have to look it
cliche,
up.
but
it's a Rhode Island. It's based in Rhode Island.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but there's the scene where an interviewer asks him like, "What is the biggest lie you've ever been told?" And he goes, "It's not that hard." Like it's really like that's
Yeah.
the thing is, people need to understand.
Bleed for this.
Yeah, it's
Name of the movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie if you haven't watched it. But again, going back, social media and advertisements and everything has done a lot of good. But the problem is they're trying to sell you something, or they're looking to sell you something. So they're also going to make it look complicated, or they're going to make things complicated, right? Because if you make things complicated for people, they need help, right? And not to be so cliche or stern, but I really think it's the truth of like things really aren't that hard, right? To achieve the goals that we want and to do the things that we want to do, it's not that hard. It's not easy either. We need to put in work, but
Takes work.
it's achievable. Like
Yeah.
whether obviously you have healthcare providers and those support systems, right? Family or friends and all that, and we want to utilize that, but I think that if we can just take a step back and take a deep breath, like it's doable, and it's doable within, months and years. Like it's not easy. It's not, can be done in a week, a lot of these things, but I want people to understand that with that support system and with a good approach, and a good mindset, like no matter what you put your mind to, you can do, right? And that's why I think there are some of those social media where you hear these really good stories, and that's what I want you to take away, or what people should take away from those stories of someone, I don't know, who left their job and traveled across the country to go pursue. Like they are able to do that because that's what life's about. I don't know. Not to get deep. Like we're getting deep here.
I like
yeah,
that.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's. Yeah, that's a great. I don't know. That scene sits in my head, like where he's like, "It's not that hard, right? We can do this. It's doable."
I love that movie, partly because I just obsessed with everything with Rhode Island since I moved here. So the fact that there's a movie about Vinny Pazienza, like the boxer from Rhode Island. So I'm I was just trying to think of this movie the other day, so I'm so psyched you said that. But I think what you were saying of how like it's not that hard, I think really shines through with your programs.
Yeah,
it's like this is handwritten. There's doodles on it. It's simple. But I guarantee I'm gonna have to try some of them, or even go through a full program. It's like I'm guaranteed there's a great workouts.
Yeah, and
like you're gonna feel like you worked damn hard at the end of them. But at the same time, it's like there's not an 85 PDF like explanation on everything that's going on here. It's just like here's a handwritten with some doodles. Like this is your workout, and just get after it.
Yeah, I mean that's and not to knock anyone that does do it. I understand the reason that they do it, but I think part of why they're doing it is they're making it those 85 to 100 paid programs are making it more complicated. So when you finish, you feel lost, right? It's like, I barely scrape by these 4 weeks. I need to drop another $80 because I'm lost again. And
because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and that's not the case, especially with the programs and no matter what gym or no matter what trainer you work with or whoever you see or whatever your support system is, if they're making you think that it's that hard, then that's not a good support system, right? Even if you're just friends, right? If your friends are telling you, abandon that goal or this or that, and then it stresses you out, like that's not a good support system, right? A good support system should be telling you, like with PT, right? If there's an injury and your PT immediately goes, God, that's a tough injury, man. Like or if a PT ever told you, I've never seen anyone fully recover from this, like what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like
it's setting you up for failure.
No, and you could take the most horrendous injury. A good PT and a PT that you should be going to is going to sit there and go, hey, this is our game plan, right? This is what's going on. This is how we're going to get to whatever we need to get, and we're going to do this together, right? If you're going to a PT and you're like, man, you're messed up, man, like then don't go to that PT. You know what I'm saying? Like that's someone that's making it way too complicated.
Right. And that goes big into there's a concept I think in the last 5 years, especially in the PT field, I'm sure in like athletic training, is like the use of like, I mean, obviously being realistic with people, setting timelines with injuries, but like the use of like positive language versus like what they would call like a nocibic language. Like, and basically this has kind of been a big field study in the past 5 years of like the language you use, just exactly what you were saying, is like can actually alter someone's outcomes.
It really can.
That's like you have
huge.
the placebo effect, which can be good or bad, but the nocebo effect is inherently negative. Like, okay, the way you're speaking about this can make someone have a worse out, which is, I mean, words matter.
Yeah, no, they do.
It's powerful.
It's blown my mind that in the fitness industry, whether it's on social media or even just advertisements, where people like advertise that their workouts, their programs, their classes are tough. Like it's like, and I get like, but same thing. Like, I don't mean to bash it. It's got a great concept, but 75 hard, like that's just about being consistent, right? I mean, that's
exactly.
But I think a lot of people like go into it nervous because they're like, it's the 75 hard. It's got this like overwhelming, whatever concept of it. And then the people who do it go, oh, that was doable. I can do more,
just
right?
One day at a time.
Very few people that I know who have done it go right back to their original habits on day 76, right?
Yeah,
So it's about being consistent, right?
You've built so much momentum. It's probably hard to go back to your habits at that point.
I'm sure you've seen it though, but like the diagrams where people post where they circle like another day done, it's like black with like red. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I think like it's got like this like red almost like gore to it. Like it's like what is that diagram? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you change the colors of that and it's a total different meaning to it. It's like you make it like blue, or I think blue and green are like common color, like blue and like not black and red, like and you don't
different psychology behind it.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's I think
interesting.
Yeah, but that's the weird thing is like this approach of, oh my God, I have to really like I've heard someone tell me like I have to mentally prepare for a week before I go into 75 hard. I'm like,
and like maybe that's the population they're trying to get after, but you definitely are. You're pushing a lot of people away just from that alone. You know, it could be more encompassing, but maybe there's like, oh, I'm just going to try to get after these people. Who knows? Like,
but
is that,
again, that's the reason. I think the reason they're doing that is because the few people that I know have done it do it multiple times because they go into it, they kind of like, oh my God, I just survived this, and then they get away from it, and then 3 months later they're like they go back to it.
They go into it again.
Yeah, but then precision nutrition, what do they use? They call it healthy or healthy habits, right? Or a healthy lifestyle, right?
Sure.
If you really look into the concepts of 75 hard and healthy habits, it's the same thing, right? Healthy habits that precision nutrition teaches is staying away from alcohol, trying to move every day, trying to work out every day, try to read, try to better yourself. It's the same concept, but healthy habits, right? People like do it for hundreds of days, but, but the 75 hard for some reason is like you go into it, you're into battle for 75, right? It's another thing where they used to, their old diagram used to have a gladiator helmet, and it's like you go into battle for 75 days, and it's like why? You know what I'm saying? Why make it more? You know.
I'm sure there's some people it tracks, but I think a lot of people probably, like you said, like it takes like a week for people to do it.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
All right, so we're about to wrap up here. We're just over the hour. So thank you for your time right off the bat. But so last question I leave people with. So the way I describe this is Highway 95. So do you take that on your way to Merrimack?
Yeah.
Or do you go 495?
It depends on like what time classes with traffic, but usually it's just 95.
95. Okay. Yeah. So Highway 95. I know the lawyer who has more billboards in Rhode Island is Rob Levine. He's got a lot of the billboards. So let's say you take his billboard for the day.
Okay.
So this is a Tim Ferriss question. So that's the way I describe it. But so you get to put your favorite quote, mantra, or saying on that billboard for the day. So something to tell like your people in Rhode Island, or just a favorite quote of yours.
Oh boy. Let's see. I don't know. There's a couple good ones. Like I know for my baseball glove through college had success is the best revenge. Like that's that's something, right? It's something that's to be with people where for my competitive people, success is the best revenge. Is really nothing better than proving someone wrong.
Yeah.
Is this just for me? Is this for like?
It's got open-ended.
Oh boy. I don't know. Like, we'll stick with that. Like, that's just something that's always kind of been close to home. Like, and it's always something my parents have said. My mom, shout out to my mom, if she listens to this. Remember she got me a shirt in high school, I think my senior year, that said success is the best revenge. But that's something that I've always says. it's kind of always sat with me. If it's something personal, like if this is my billboard, just like that guy, you know, I mean, he's advertising himself, but every time that he's in a car with someone or someone's about to make that drive that he's like, yo, look at me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's a good guy. I don't know. Maybe if he's listening to this, but I don't know. That was my thing. It's just like, I don't know, like we didn't touch on it too much, but I wasn't like a stud baseball player in college. I did my role, if that, and then I just put in the work. You know, I was a good team player. I knew kind of what the team needed, and I did my best to try and be that. You know, I graduated in the first, kind of one of the first jobs I got at the one-on-one, that one-on-one personal training place, like had a lot of big names, like to be honest, like a couple big name trainers there.
Sweet.
And they were like, you know, you'll come in, you'll train like 10, 15 sessions a week and that'll be it. And it wasn't like I worked my way up to training more than anyone else in that studio.
Let's go.
And just like same thing with like even just coaching now, like I always want to try to better myself, and I just like I love being told that you can't do this, you can't do that. Like even with the programmings, like I was a couple people who like for some reason have to tell you like no one's gonna buy that, right? So when I started just posting the diagrams or little tidbits, like I had people reach out and go, no one's gonna buy those, and I was like, that's great, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Like I'm gonna show you that like like that's not the case. So I don't know, for those listening, if you got those people in your life, just use it as motivation, right? There's people that do that are just insecure, and
true.
You know, just use that as your motivation for yourself, and you don't have to say anything back, right? If I'm sure in our lifetime, we've had plenty of people kind of run their mouth to us in person and stuff like that. Just head down, keep grinding, just do what you need to do, right? And that's what everyone should do. I think it's unbelievable that I sat there and, you know, through high school, college, and being in my early 20s working at this job with 50-year-olds, training 50-year-olds, you know, sitting there being like, okay, when I turn 30, 40, like the drama stops, right? It's when I turn 40 years old, the workplace environment's going to be super professional, and talking to these 50-year-olds, it's just not the case. It's never going to end. So
it's not an age thing. It's more about who you surround yourself with.
Yep. So, you know, in the workplace, it's something we can't control. Just do your best to just focus on yourself, right?
Yeah,
there we go. Throw that in there.
Yeah,
so,
I like that too.
I don't know. I wish I had
two billboards.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That'd be awesome.
He's got a couple. He's got some to spare.
I mean, I can just keep throwing out just quotes. I always laugh with some of the F45 clients that like one of these days, like I'll just take a class and just throw out motivational quotes, right? Just do it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or something like that, right?
You're like, wait a second.
So
Nike, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, it's just, but yeah, it's just, you know, use that for your motivation, right? And just, I don't know, just focus on ourselves, right? It's, I've really liked where mental health, the mental health aspect of everything is gone, and you're seeing a lot of pictures and stuff posted on social media. I saw one actually on the way here where someone reposted on their story, just like we have our bubble, right? And just control what you can in your bubble, and you know, focus on that bubble. The things that we love and enjoy, family, friends, loved ones, keep it in your bubble, and anything that's, you know, toxic and not supposed to be in our life, just try to keep it outside of our bubble, right? So
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
good. All right, well, great answer. We'll wrap up with that. Last piece is where can people find you? Is Instagram kind of the best way?
I think all my social media is the same. So it's at Dylon Grzenda. So Dylon. Last name is Grzenda. I repost a lot of F45 and my personal training stuff. Again, the programs are there. I have a couple free programs. If you slide through the sliders, whatever those little highlights are called at the top. On Instagram, I do have a couple informational videos. So going over form check on squats and deadlifts. I think we have, my friend and I did one for overhead press. We have a couple hip flexor stretches, rehab stuff on there. So hopefully in the next couple of months, I'll get back to posting more instructional stuff. But Instagram and TikTok are kind of the way to reach. Again, Instagram's more about me. TikTok is more informational fitness stuff.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Love it. TikTok's big. That's the future.
Yeah, it is. It really is, and I think it's done a lot of good to give small name, like not businesses, but like individual creators power. I think Instagram is kind of run a little bit more for businesses, but TikTok you can blow up for being just this individual doing your own thing, which is great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll wrap up with that.
Perfect.
Great to have you
Awesome.
on, man.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. It was great.
Roadie Strength signing off.